Hi everyone and welcome back to FPL Natty. Yes, it's been a long time, but we are back. The wait is finally over, and in a few days' time, it's going to be game week number one. I don't know why I was thinking about that. Game week number one is going to happen for the 2023-24 season. I hope you had a good break. I've had a decent break. If you haven't seen me, well, I don't know what to say. I've just been missing off YouTube, but I've also been on TikTok as well. So my TikTok is over there, yeah. So you see it there in the corner. Log onto my TikTok as well, so you can see what I'm doing there, maybe on like a daily basis, and I post like funny memes and stuff. But I am back here for this season of FPL. I'm very excited. I won my mini league last season, which was good, even though my overall rank was like okay, like 200,000, but that was like out of 10 million. So I'm pretty happy about how I did for last season. But that's in the past now. It's a fresh, clean slate. As we saw with the game at the weekend, what was that? The Charity Shield World Cup or whatever it was, where City lost. It doesn't matter, but it means this game week is coming up real quick. But before we get to that, there are some predictions that I want to go through, or what I think how this season is going to pan out. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. If you're here brand new, welcome to my channel. I am Nathaniel. This is FPL Natty. So let's go right into it and see what my predictions are for this season. Let's start with my first prediction, and that is who will win the Premier League for the 2023-24 season. And I am going to go with Manchester City. They're off the back of a treble winning season. They won the FA Cup, they won the Premier League, and they won the Champions League, beating Inter Milan. So I think they are in a rich training form. Yes, they have lost a few players, but I'm not too worried about that. I think they are a fantastic squad, and with the people that they are bringing in, namely that strong defender, and they have already have a strong midfield already. I think there's a lot to build on. Haaland is coming in for his second season as well. They still got De Bruyne. Currently, they still have Silva as well. Hopefully, Foden can push on. Yes, they've lost Mahrez and they've lost Gundogan, but I still think that as a whole, that City squad is far too strong. And if we're moving from that and going straight into who I think is going to be in the top four, as we know, the top four are the teams that will then qualify for the Champions League. Then usually it's 5 and 6 for Europa League, and then it's 7 and 8 for Europa Conference League. I think it's like that. There might be a change this season. I don't know. UEFA's always trying to do something different and something fancy. So I heard a rumor about there being a fifth place, but let's just stick to a top four at the moment. And my top four predictions for this year is going to be City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and my team, Manchester United. I'm not saying what order. You know what? I will say what order. I think City are gonna win it. Then I think it's gonna be United. Then I think it's gonna be Liverpool, and then fourth place I think it's gonna go to Arsenal. Arsenal fans, don't come for me in the comments, please don't. So in the same token, who's going to be relegated? As we know, three teams came up last season. It was Burnley. They've come back in. I think, did they come straight back in? They might have done. And they have Vincent Company in there, at who's the manager for that squad. I think they've done really well in the championship. They scored like a record amount of goals and got promoted pretty easily. But the Premier League's a different beast, and as we saw how City dealt with them, I think it was in the FA Cup. It can easily happen to them in the Premier League, and you just need the right resources and the right players. Also, you've got Sheffield United and Luton Town that have also come up, and we've all seen the memes going on social media in regards to Luton Town's away. The entrance to the away ground. I think it's like through some houses or something. So I don't know how they're going to cope in the Premier League, but this is my prediction for relegation. I think number one is going to be Everton. We saw how they struggled last season, and even though Sean Dyche is still in there, he's had more time to work with them. But I think there's not been much investment in the team, and they don't really have anyone up front. I know Demarai Gray is looking to go. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is so injury prone. He plays like 3 games a season, so they've got no firepower up front, nothing in the back as well. And also, I think they're going to get relegated. Okay. And also, I just don't think they have enough as a team as a whole within them to stay up. We know the fan base is really unhappy with the managerial, not in managerial, with the ownership situation at the minute. There've been a lot of protests as well, and that hasn't changed. There's not been much that Sean Dyche has had to work with over the summer, and if they're going to be the same with no one coming in who's going to change that squad, I don't see them staying up. And alongside them is going to be Wolves as well. We know that they have lost Raul Jimenez, he's gone to Fulham. They've lost Traore, they've lost Neves. You're talking about key players in their team, and they don't. With that, they don't have a strong CDM. They don't have a good mid and attacking press, and they do not have a striker. They didn't have one last year with Jimenez out, well, coming back from injury, and they haven't replaced him. So I think they're really, really going to struggle. We saw the manager there complaining during the preseason about how there hasn't been much investment, and that usually is a worrying sign if you're a Wolves fan, because it probably means that the team is not going to do well this season. So Everton and Wolves, and my final team that I think are going to get relegated is Luton Town. Yes, they have done really well by getting into the Premier League, but I think the step up with the journey that they've done, by I think back-to-back seasons, I believe it is, or very close to that, I think it's just going to be too much. We have some really, really strong teams in the Premier League, as you know, and I just don't think Luton Town have the right pedigree to stay up. I could be wrong, but that's my three to go down: Everton, Wolves, and Luton Town. So, who's going to be my dark horse of the season? I'm going to give this one to Brighton. So, under Robert De Zerbi, he came off the back of Graham Potter leaving. He has transformed that club tremendously. They are so strong in defence, midfield, and attack. We know that Brighton have a great recruiting scouting team, and they have found some real gems, as we've seen in this transfer window, with those that have gone on to other teams. You had Cucurella, who went last season. You got McAllister, who's gone this season to Liverpool, and I know that Chelsea are chasing Caicedo as well. Their keeper Raya is wanted by Arsenal, as we're hearing. So the whole team is really being shipped out to bigger teams, but Brighton as a whole, they don't drop off form. They really, really do well, even though they lose potentially top players from their team, because they have a fantastic manager, great attitude within the squad. Everyone knows their role, and they find like for like replacements to keep them up there in the Premier League. So I think there might be a dark horse pushing for a European place, maybe a what's it, a Europa League place this season. So I'm thinking Brighton for maybe like a sixth place. So yeah, let's stick with Brighton as our dark horse. So if there's a dark horse, that means there must be an underachiever, and I'm going to give that one, unfortunately, to Newcastle. Yes, there are great expectations from Newcastle after they had a fantastic season last season. Eddie Howe done a great job. We saw what Trippier did. Who they got in goal? They got Pope in goal, fantastic. And then you go to the rest of the defense. You got Shear, Botman. Then moving on to midfield, you had Joe Linton that got moved into midfield, alongside Longstaff as well, and Bruno Guimaraes that was holding that front bit of the midfield. Then they got Isak for like 60 million, who was up front with what's his name, with Charlie Wilson, and then you had Almiron, who scored like, I don't know, like 12 goals in like 12 games or something. He done amazing, and then they had Saint Maximin as well. So they done really well last season, but I think with them having Europe, well, I can't even get my words out. With them having a Europa League this season, as well as Premier League, as well as Carabao Cup and FA Cup, I think it might be too much. Their squad is isn't that hasn't got the biggest depth, and we saw how teams like West Ham struggled with playing Premier League and also fighting for Europa Cup. Europa Conference League. They did win it, but it was a struggle. They almost got relegated. So I think the underachievers for this upcoming season will be Newcastle, because they just do not have the depth of squad, and there will be such an expectation from them to do what they did last season, but they won't be able to do it with the amount of games they have to play and the squad they have. So Eddie Howe might be in trouble come Christmas if they're not pushing for those top five places. So this is a bit of a tougher one. Who's the first manager to be sacked this season? I'm gonna go with Pochettino at Chelsea. I think that Chelsea have trigger fingers, And yes, they have lost pretty much all of their squad, so there should be a bit of leeway for them for that. Chelsea are not that kind of team. They always fight for either the top cups, and that's like Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, or they or they don't. So I think this year they won't, because obviously they're not in any Europe. So they're just going to be fighting for the Premier League. But if you look at the squad is so weak at the moment, and I see them 11th, 13th, yeah, between 11th and 14th for this season, and that will not be good enough for Pochettino to save his job. So I think he might be the first to be sacked. So, top scorer for this season, I am going to go with someone who smashed it last season. His name is Erling Haaland. All of you know who he is. I think he's probably got about almost 90% ownership right now in FPL land. So, I'm going to go with him for the top scorer. I think he's going to get about 35 goals this season. As you know, City creates so many chances. And who do you want on the end of them? You want Erling Haaland. Right foot, left foot, header, strong, quick. There's not much he can't do, to be honest. I know that people talk about him in the big games, but overall, he is a fantastic player, and I think he's going to be the top goal scorer this season. For player of the year, I'm going to go with a new signing that has just come into Manchester United, and his name is Rasmus Højlund. I think that Man United have been looking for a striker for a long time, and we've had older ones, and obviously you can't discount like Ronaldo, Cavani that was in there. We had a Garlo for a bit or whatever, and even Weghorst, but we won't talk about that. But this new guy that's coming, he is going to be the future of Manchester United, and bringing it back to a young, hungry striker at a top team, a top world club, a top world renowned team in Manchester United. I think Højlund is going to show people what he can do. Yes, he didn't score many goals in Serie A last year for Atlanta. I think he scored about 9 goals or whatever. But that's not really the point. The point is that he is an up and coming talent. So I think he definitely will be a my player of the year for this season. I think he's going to give us about 25 goals. Yes, I said it. 25 goals. I think with Bruno behind him, you got Mount as well, Rashford on the left, and if you got Garnacho, you got Anthony, you got Sancho, all these players behind him, and him playing that number 9 striker. What can go wrong? Last year we struggled with not having the right player to put the goals away, and we have him now. So I think he's going to be my player of the year, Rasmus Højlund. Keeping it in Manchester, we're going to talk about the Golden Glove Award, and this is the award you get for, I think, most clean sheets or something like that. So I'm going to keep this in Manchester, and this is going to go to Edison at Manchester City. As you know, Man City's defence is one of the best defences in world football, and they have strengthened it. I think they've got a new guy they're bringing in for like 80 million to be a defender alongside Stones, Akanji, Ake, Diaz. Like, come on, we're listing so many good players here that can walk into any team, and behind them they have Edison. Okay, so I'm going to give him the Golden Glove Award for 2023-2024. And last but not least, my signing of the season so far, as in this transfer season for this period of time, is going to be Declan Rice. He has obviously broken a transfer fee for a British player. If that is wrong, please correct me. But I believe he has at £105 million, moving from West Ham to Arsenal. Yes, it's a loss of money. I think English tax had a lot to do with that. But I do feel that for Arsenal and the transition that they want to make to try and win the Premier League, Declan Rice is a fantastic acquisition. We saw what he did at West Ham. Yes, he was a big fish in a little pond. Sorry to all my West Ham fans that are watching this. But at Arsenal, you will see the real Declan Rice. He will stand up in that team. I think he already is a leader, and they are, they've lost a leadership quality that they had in that midfield with Xhaka. And I know he may not come out with that off the bat in terms of that domineering, maybe how he talks to the players because he's trying to find his feet. But I think him in that centre of the park, he's going to be fantastic for Arsenal. He's still young, and obviously he plays for England, so I'm going to wrap him all the way. He's with his other England boys, and he's got Saka right next to him. He loves his jollof rice, apparently. So I think that he is my current signing of the season. Man United wanted him. Chelsea wanted him. I know he came from the Chelsea academy previously, but he went to Arsenal, chose Arsenal. He looked at the project that Arteta did, and he thought, yeah, that's the right one for me. So I think he's going to be fantastic, to be honest. So those are my predictions for the season 2023-2024 for the Premier League. If you agree with those, write them in the comments below. If you disagree, write even more. I want to know who you think I should have replaced. Maybe you thought if Kane stays, he's going to be the top scorer or whatever. Or you think some other teams might be in the top four. If maybe I missed out your team because I missed out. I missed out Chelsea. I missed out Newcastle. Or maybe you think that I picked the wrong team to win the Premier League. I want to hear your opinion. Write it down in the comments below. I want to know what you are thinking about this. And as I said before, welcome back. I'm so honored that you are watching this video. If you haven't already, sign up to my mini league. It's over here. There's a few of us in there, but we kind of want to grow that. And if you do win that mini league, there possibly, I will confirm this as the season goes on, might be a monetary prize for you or some sort of prize that I will conjure up for you for those that have won my mini league. So yeah, join it up there. It's up there. You can see my ranking history. I've done okay. I'm still new to this game, but I just want to share my journey with you guys. And so that is what I'm doing. Sign up to my TikTok already. And guys, you will see my draft is coming up soon. I'm still trying to work out what I'm going to do, but I will be showing you that video real soon. I might even do a live before game week 1. But until then, watch this space and I'll catch you guys in the next one.